Hello, investors. Today we're going to do something a little different. Instead of analyzing a stock or talking about a value process, we're going to have a little fun. What's the point of all this serious investing if we cannot have a little fun along the way? Sure, amassing wealth is important. However, you need to treat yourself once in a while. And better yet, you can use some of those existing assets to treat yourself without diminishing your net worth. And that is the thought experiment here today. Very specifically, how can I use my dividends to buy a Rolex? If you like this concept video, please give us a like and subscribe so we know to make more content just like this. Why a Rolex? Well, what's a better wealth status symbol than a ridiculously priced Swiss watch? Now, there's plenty of YouTube content on the subject of Rolex. I highly recommend something like Watchfinder or Nico Leonard if you'd like to know more about the brand Rolex. But the TLDR is Rolex watches are both overpriced and somehow worth every penny. They are the quantum wrist matter of our time. And I don't just say this as someone who admires from afar. I am the happy owner of an Oyster Perpetual 114300 in dark rhodium. Some people like to say Rolex is an investment itself. I say these people are delusional. Sure, there's a possibility that my stainless steel toy will be worth more money in the future than what I paid for it, and certainly there's some price history to suggest it's a real possibility. But really, people just say this to justify their toys. The other possibility, watch buyers start to realize that Rolexes are mass manufactured, like 1 million watches a year mass manufactured. Yeah, they're good. They're great, actually. They're probably not priced appropriately, especially considering you can go get something like an Omega, which has arguably a much better mechanical movement for half the price. You pay a premium for Rolex for one reason: that little crown logo on the dial, on the crown, and even laser etched in the sapphire crystal. That is it. It is the name and it's the status that comes along with it. Today's thought experiment: what would it take to buy a Rolex purely with dividends within a year? To do this, we're going to look at two options. Option A, we're going to call this the patient option, is to save up those dividends and buy the watch after a year. Option B, the impatient option, buy the watch ASAP and make monthly payments with your dividends. I'm going to say this right now, option A is almost always better unless you can get free financing. And free financing can be tough to get right now. Do not pay interest on luxury items. It's about the dumbest thing you can do. So for our option A example, we want to save up that distribution cash until we can afford our watch. Earlier this week, we talked about Verizon, which at their current price is paying a fat 6.5% yield. That is a really great dividend return from a healthy business. I trust Verizon to be good with that dividend for the year, so I think that's a really great option for this experiment. For option B, we need something that pays a monthly dividend, which is not very common. We do have some real estate investment trusts, or REIT, options, and the most popular monthly dividend paying stock, I believe, is Realty Income, or O. Realty Income is a REIT that owns a lot of very securely leased properties, mostly retail. Realty Income has a strong history of not only consistently paying its monthly dividend, but also increasing it year over year. The downside of Realty Income is the yield, which is not very high. It's about 4.5% right now, so we'll need a lot more cash to buy it versus the Verizon model. There are other REITs that do pay a higher yield, but none of them I trust more than Realty Income to be consistent with that dividend over the course of 12 months. We have our two dividend options, Verizon and O. Now we need to pick our watch. There are a lot to choose from. It can be very difficult to buy a new Rolex right now, as most dealers don't have any reasonably priced models in stock. And since this is your first Rolex, it might be worth buying a used one. I think a great first Rolex could be a little vintage, 1990s, not that vintage, and a 1990s Datejust. Datejust is a perfect entry into the world of luxury watches like Rolex. Here we have a 1998 Rolex Datejust with a white gold fluted bezel and Roman numeral indices. This watch is dope. It's classy, it's a little blingy, but not crazy over the top. Is $6,400 a reasonable price? It mostly is. It's a little on the expensive side, but a website like Chrono24 backs the authenticity of this watch. If you go and buy this watch secondhand or from a watch forum, you're not 100% sure of what you're getting until you get it, and by then it could be too late. So we have our Rolex, $6,400. How many shares of my dividend stocks will I need to purchase it within a year? For the Verizon example, we simply divide our purchase price, $6,400, by our yearly dividend rate. We estimate one share of Verizon will pay $2.60 a year, which comes out to 2,462 shares needed. At today's price, how much will that cost us? About $95,772. That is a lot of money, but that's how much in Verizon stock we would need to purchase our watch without diminishing our equity position. What if we choose option B, realty income? This option, we can instead make monthly payments. If we look back at Chrono24, they offer a firm which gives us the horrible interest rate of 14.99%, which over 12 months would cost us over $500 in interest. And our monthly payment would be $573. How many realty income shares do I need to cover $573 a month? The monthly dividend is 25 cents per share, and I would need 2,292 shares of realty income, which at its current price would cost us $143,961. To summarize, if I can wait a year and have enough capital to spare putting $95,000 into Verizon, then I can get that date just with dividends using the Verizon model. If you can't wait a year and you have an extra $145,000 lying around, then you can buy some realty income and finance the Rolex with a firm every month using that monthly dividend. And that's it. If you have some dough lying around, like $95,000 or $145,000, then put it to work and go get a Rolex. Of course, if you have that much money, you may just want to go and buy the watch outright and not wait for the dividends to come rolling in. But then you're immediately diminishing your net worth, and who wants to do that? All right, thank you for watching. Go find some value.